is Elly Waller, and I want to welcome you to the Zoom today from Neot Kedumim. Thank you for joining us. Every day at 4 o'clock we have English lectures, and different people will be presenting every day. So thanks for coming today. Our topic today is, let's let someone in. Our topic today is how water is vital in the land of Israel. There's a fly buzzing around me, so that's what I'm shooing now and then. How water is vital in the land of Israel. We're going to talk about how, since ancient times, water was regarded as a supremely precious commodity. And since ancient times, finding water was a life and death struggle. The Bible is replete with verses that talk about the importance of water. For example, in Isaiah, you shall draw water with joy out of the wells of salvation. And these words inspired people throughout the centuries to appreciate every last drop of water. And we have also always viewed water as a symbol of all that is good. On this virtual tour of Neot Kedumim, we are going to discover how the Bible, nature, and archaeology prove how important water has always been in Israel. We will also learn what a profound effect this quest to find water had on those living in the land of Israel. And I'm going to share my screen so we can see some pictures of the park, of our nature reserve, our incredible nature reserve. So here we go, sharing the screen. All right, I'm just going to move the, see it? Here we are. All right, so as I said, the topic is water is vital in the land of Israel. And there you have a panoramic view of Neot Kedumim. And right now, outside, we've got a bit of rain coming down. In fact, on my shirt, you might notice a few droplets because I came in from outside. And it's a rare thing to have rain at this time of the year. We only started praying for rain on the last day of the festival, our last festival, which was Simchat Torah, October 7th. The date will forever be burned in our mind because of the events that happened this year, the terrible events. But let's move on to look at this picture. So what we can see here on the left-hand side is a mezuzah. And a mezuzah can be a very decorative box that is placed on the doorpost of a Jewish home on a slant. And the container can have any kind of form, but what's inside is of real importance. You can buy all sorts of artistic boxes, and they can range in price from very, very, just a very small amount for a plastic box to something very ornate and artistic by a famous artist. But what's inside is really the most expensive part because it's the most important part. And you can see it here as well. It's a parchment that is rolled up very small and has been calligraphied. It's been written by a Torah scribe with a quill. And in the mezuzah, we have 2 paragraphs from the book of Deuteronomy. And they're very, very famous because they're also called the Shema, which is the prayer we recite in the synagogues twice a day, in the morning prayer and in the evening prayer. And the first paragraph starts with Shema Yisrael. The second paragraph is the paragraph I actually want to hone in on. And it says over here, it starts, V'haya im shamoa, tishma'u. And many Jewish people know this prayer of Shema off by heart, and they learn it as children. They can say it off by heart.
Anybody here who isn't Jewish?
Please,
Oh, slicha.
Yeah. Did you? Sorry. Okay. So that is the prayer of the Shema, and I want to translate the part that I've underlined in a blue highlighter, where it says, "V'natati matar artzachem be'ito." Okay, let's talk about those words from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11. And I've translated them here. Let the rain fall in its due season, D-U-E, because the rain in Israel, in general, 99.9% of the time, only falls in the rainy season. And we are officially in the rainy season right now. But we have to ask ourselves, how much rain is going to fall be'ito at the right time between Sukkot, the last day of Sukkot, and Pesach, which is the month of Tishrei and the month of Nisan. It's 6 months, let's say. Sometimes we have a drought, so it extends a little longer. But how much water falls? So on average, we get in the land of Israel, we get 20 to 30 days of rain, not a lot of rain. And it doesn't mean it's going to rain all day. It means it's going to rain at some point. And that rain is very, very welcome. It's when it falls at the right time. As I said, it's called Gishmei Bracha, the rain of blessing. But when it falls at the wrong time, when it falls in the dry season, it's not regarded as the water of blessing, because it can ruin the crops that are in the fields, and it's not great for agriculture. Okay, I don't know if someone tried to say something. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Okay, so as I said, the rain falls in the rainy season, and what I've got here is I took a picture of a Siddur, a Hebrew prayer book. This one's translated. It's from the Acorn. And in this bracha of Gvurot, starting on Shmini Atzeret, when we say Tfilat HaGeshem, we say the prayer for rain. We say in our daily prayer, we say Meshiv Haruach U'Morid HaGashem. He makes the wind blow and the rain fall, because we want the rain at this season. This is what we want. Now, I want to share with you that in 1947, when the UN was dealing with the partition plan of Israel, and they set up a committee to deal with the issue of Israel, problem of Israel and how it could be dealt with. Amongst the many people they asked to testify in the UN was the chief rabbi of Israel at the time. They invited Rabbi Isaac Halevi Herzog to come to the UN and explain why the land of Israel was so important, the actual land of Israel was so important to the Jewish people who in the diaspora and when they would come to Israel as well. And in his presentation, he emphasized the deep connection between the people of Israel and the land of Israel. And he said, in our prayer books and in our prayers and blessings, Zion and Jerusalem play a central role. And in far-flung lands, the Jews pray for rain and dew, D-E-W, that the land of Israel needs. Now, I'm Australian, as you may have guessed from my accent, grew up in Australia, and we used to say, Meshiv Haruach U'Morid HaGashem, not for rain to fall in Australia, but for rain to fall in Israel, because we were focused on the land of Israel, although we lived far away. Now, I'm going to play you a song, maybe just a snippet, we'll see. This is from a satirical show that recently came out. It's called Eretz Nehederet, which is a funny, it it's a satirical show. And even in these trying times in Israel, it's really amazing that they managed to not make light of the situation, but help the people who are living in Israel who are so full of anxiety and it's so difficult for so many people, allow them to have a little bit of an escape. And they invited a really famous singer called Shlomo Artzi to come and to sing one of his famous songs. And I'm going to play it because he draws on the words from the Shema prayer. Let's see if I can play it. Let's see if I can. And if I can't, I'm going to put it on my phone and play it for you this way. Here we go. Here we go. We don't want the ad. All right, bear with me, folks. Yeah, here it is.
ויבשו עינינו מדמעות, ופינו כבר נותר אילם בלי קול. מה עוד נבקש שמו מה עוד, כמעט ביקשנו לנו את הכל. את הגשם תרבה איתו, ותמשיך לחזור שוב לביתו, יותר מזה אנחנו לא צריכים.
I'm going to stop there and just tell you, it gets me. He's an iconic singer and he's saying, Ten lageshem laredet beito, the same words that we said in the Shema. And he says, let us just live in our land and return to our homes. Okay, let's look at the next slide. Okay, so here we have, this is me actually in the pictures, me at a water cistern in Neot Kedumim. In Neot Kedumim, we have about 40 cisterns. They're called Bor Maim in Hebrew. And the cisterns that we have in the park are they are authentic archaeological remains from Second Temple period, from over 2,000 years ago, from the time of the Maccabees, the Hasmoneans. So, and this cistern that I'm at in this picture, it works. What happened was the people, they dug a deep shaft through the limestone. They hollowed out a big area and they lined it with plaster so the water wouldn't be reabsorbed into the earth's surface, and they waited for it to fill with water. As I said, the water will only fall in the wintertime, in the rainy season. So the idea that you could catch the water in the rainy season to use in the dry season was a brilliant idea, because that's all the water you're going to get. So what was that water used for? It was used for drinking, obviously, and most importantly, you could unmute yourselves if you like and tell me what else the water was used for. Can everybody? Yeah. Okay. What else was the water in the cistern that was captured used for? It was used for food. It was used to give water to your livestock, your animals. It was used for your agriculture. It was used for washing. It was used for any other ideas? I think we've covered most of them. If you want to say it was used for ritually bathing, we have mikvaot dug separately, mikvahs that were used for that, a ritual bath, and we'll talk about them a little later. So basically, it was used for your basic human daily needs. And in this picture, I'm pulling out I pulled up the rope. It's about 7 or 8 meters deep, and and I drew water from the cistern with a bucket. Just last Shabbat in the synagogue, we read the portion of Chayei Sarah, which has a famous story where Rebecca meets Abraham's servant at the well, and she is very generous and offers to not only give him water, but to give his camels water too. Let's move on. Okay. Now, this is a different cistern that you see me at over here, a different cistern in Neot Kedumim. This is called Borea Borim. And I want to tell you that the Midrash came along. They looked at all the very, very many references there were to water in the Bible, and they wanted to learn religious lessons from those psukim, from those verses. So I'm going to take my source from Shir Hashirim Rabbah, which is the Midrash on the book of the Song of Songs, and I'll just tell you, I'll tell you that it says over there all the different ways water was important, and for every different important reason that we needed water, they provide a verse. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll tell you the different important reasons that we needed water, according to the rabbis. They said that water provides life to the world. They said it's from the heavens. They said it restores the soul. It purifies the person from impurity. I can hear somebody talking. If you want to mute yourself. I can hear you, Sarit, I think. They said that it purifies the body. It descends drop by drop. It causes the plants to grow. And now I'm going to go a little deeper and tell you that it says, just as water restores the soul, as it is stated in the book of Judges, God, in chapter 15, where it says, God split the hollow that was in Lehi, and water emerged from it. He drank, and his spirit returned. So just as water restores the soul, as it did in that description in Judges, so too, according to the rabbis, water is like Torah, and the Torah is complete, and the Torah restores your soul. So the rabbis are comparing water to Torah. Water.
Where in Shira Shirim Rabbah?
Pardon me?
Where in Shira Shirim Rabbah?
Shira Shirim Rabbah Aleph, at the beginning. Aleph.
Thanks.
Okay? Just as the Torah is what you need to restore your soul, so too water restores your soul, or the other way around. Just as water restores your soul, so too does the Torah. And then when you go back and you look at the rest of that source in Shir Hashirim Rabbah, all the other things that they're saying water does, they're saying Torah does. Okay? And now I want to talk about this quote over here. This is from a different midrash. It's called Avot de Rabbi Natan, and this is 6, and it says, it has an amazing source, and I want you to, if you can, look very carefully at this picture on the left where I'm pulling up the rope, and if you look carefully, you can see, maybe you want to zoom in, you can see that there are grooves in the side of the rock, of the limestone, and those grooves were formed over hundreds of years of the rope wearing away the rock. Obviously, we change the rope in Neot Kedumim when it wears out, but as I said, these cisterns that we have are thousands of years old, and over the centuries, the rope, its constant wear and tear, has worn away the rock. Now, this leads to this midrash, where it talks about Rabbi Akiva, one of the, if not the most famous Talmud scholars. His name was Rabbi Akiva, and he had very humble beginnings. He only came to Torah study very late in life. So let's read the source. What were Akiva's beginnings before he was a rabbi? It is said, up to the age of 40, he had not yet studied a thing. And then one time, while standing by the mouth of a well in Lydda, he inquired, who hollowed out this stone? And was told, Akiva, haven't you read that water wears away the stone? That's a source from the book of Job, Eov, chapter 14. And what do the rabbis say? How did this happen, that water wore away the stone? It was water falling upon it constantly, day after day. At that, by hearing that, Rabbi Akiva asked himself, is my mind harder than this stone? I will go and study at least one section of the Torah. So he went and he had to join kindergarten children because he was so far behind. He didn't know anything about Judaism. But little by little by little, as water wears away the stone, or as a rope rubs away the stone, so too Akiva managed to garner more and more Torah until he became one of the most incredible scholars of his generation. Okay, next. What we have here in the picture is another example of an installation in the park where we learn about harnessing water. So this is called, the picture on the right, it's a water wheel. And we use its Greek name, which is called an Antia. And why is it called an Antia? I'll tell you. You turn the water wheel. This is a small water wheel, believe it or not. It's around a man-made pond. And as you turn the water wheel, the jugs that you can see that are connected to the wheel fill up and they turn around, and then they pour the contents of their jug into the trough, and it pours down, and the picture on the left is it pours onto the next trough and the water comes trickling down. And why is it called Antilia? If you know, when you wash netilat yadayim, when you're washing your hands for ritual purposes, for example, before you eat bread, you have to wash your hands, and you say al netilat yadayim, you use a natlan. You use what do you use to pour water on your hands? You use a natlan. And that word natlan sounds like Antilia because this is what you are taking your water in. And that's what is connected. The jugs are connected to the Antilia. Now, I want to talk about a different verse from Psalms connected to the Antilia. Here we have it written here from Psalm 75, where it says, it is God who gives judgment. He brings down one man, he lifts up another. And I have another midrash to share with you. This is called a midrash Tehillim. And it says there, like a water wheel, a galgal, where the lower jugs come up full and the upper ones go down empty. So too, said the rabbis, not everyone who is rich today will be rich tomorrow, and he who is poor today may not be poor tomorrow. What the rabbis are trying to say to us is, don't be depressed. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel you're struggling, but you can't get out of this vicious cycle. It's not a vicious cycle. It's good. You're what do I want to say? Things can change, and you will be able to. You'll turn a corner, and you might be in a different position. You might be in a different situation. Okay, moving on. This is a massive water wheel. I don't know if you can see. I've got the yellow arrows, pointing to a person in the water wheel. That's actually me. And you feel like a hamster in a wheel. But as you walk, the wheel turns, and it's the same concept that you fill the jugs and it pours onto the trough. And here we can recite a very famous source from Isaiah. You shall draw water with joy out of the wells of salvation. Ushaftem mayim besason mimane hayeshua. Okay, so drawing water makes you happy. Why? As I said, this was a means of harnessing the water, so you could irrigate your fields. You could for agricultural purposes. Let's look at another installation. This is me climbing out of a mikveh, out of a ritual bath. Water was collected there for ritual purposes, and women and men would dunk in the mikveh in order to become ritually pure. Now, going back to our source from Shir Shirim Rabbah, it says over there, just as water provides life to the world, as it is stated in the Song of Songs, I brought that here, a fountain of gardens, a well of living waters, so too Torah provides life to the world, as it is stated in the book of Proverbs, chapter 4. They are a life for those who find them. Ki chayim hem lemotzehem. Okay? So, and I want to share another source from the Shir Shirim Rabbah. Just as water purifies the body, as it is stated in the book of Leviticus, he shall immerse his flesh in water and become pure. So too, Torah purifies the body, say the rabbis, as it is stated in the book of Psalms, your sayings are extremely pure. Tzrufa imratecha me'od. They have a one-to-one correlation between the Torah and water. Let's look at another installation for extracting water. So here I am. It's a big long pole, and you lower a bucket into the water, and then you can pull the bucket out of the water. And this is called a kilon. And I want to share with you yet another midrash. This is called the Mechilta de Rabbi Yishmael. That might be a little more obscure, but it goes like this. This is a translation. The expounders said they did not find water. That's a source from the book of Exodus, chapter 15. The people are in the desert, no water. They complain to Moses. But the Mechilta de Rabbi Yishmael says the words of Torah are compared to water. Where is this seen? Go back to the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, where it says, Ho, all who are thirsty, go to the waters. What do the rabbis say? Why did the people complain to Moses, and why were they not behaving well? Because, say the rabbis, they separated from words of the Torah for too long. They weren't learning Torah for 3 full days, and so they rebelled. Wherefore, the prophets and the elders instituted a law that we should read from the Torah on Shabbat, Monday and Thursday, and this is something that we do to this day. How so? We read on Shabbat, and we pause on Sunday. Today, for example, it's Sunday, we didn't read Torah in the synagogue. Tomorrow, on Monday, we will read from the Torah, and then we won't read from the Torah in the synagogue Tuesday, Wednesday, but on Thursday we will. Then we'll have a pause on Friday, and we'll read again on Shabbat. Why? Why do we do that? Because the rabbi said you can't go 3 consecutive days without having a public reading of the Torah, because it's not good for the Jewish people. And as I said, it's like the rabbi said, it's like you can't not have water to drink, or you won't live. Just in a like fashion, you can't be without Torah and you can't live. Okay, next. What am I doing over here? I'm standing around a flour mill that is powered by water. Over here, ignore the facial expressions. Over here, we pull a lever and the water wheel turns. And then the picture on the right, we pour in the grains of wheat and it makes the millstones turn. So it's very, very handy, because turning the millstones is it's hard work. And if you could get a water powered machine, then that was really going to help you execute the task of grinding the flour. Okay, now water has been likened to the Torah and to this life-giving force for humans, but and I would say it was likened to many, many treasures, the foremost of which is wisdom or / Torah. So again, in Shir HaShirim Rabbah, just as water, it says, causes the plants to grow, so too matters of Torah cause anyone who exerts himself sufficiently in their study, anyone like that will grow. And Rabbi Akiva was an amazing example of that. Now, I'm going to leave water installations for a moment because I really, really love in all of my lectures to focus in on a tree or a flower or a shrub. And I've chosen to talk about this incredible oak tree. And you'll say, huh? What's the connection? And I want to tell you what the connection is. First of all, it says in the book of Job, it doesn't say what tree it's talking about in the book of Job. It says, Eov, it says, for there is hope for a tree. If it be cut down, it will sprout again. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stock thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud, and bring forth boughs like a plant. Now, the oak tree is a very, very strong tree that's mentioned in the Bible. In Hebrew, it's called Alon, a popular boy's name. We say Chason hu ka'alonim. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to showing you my muscles. Because it is chason hu ka'alonim, as strong as an oak. It's a very slow-growing tree. It can take hundreds of years to grow, will live for hundreds of years, will take hundreds of years to die. But it doesn't require much water. How do I know this? I want to prove this to you. I don't know if you can see this book that I'm holding up in front of my head. This is a famous book by Azaria Alon. It's called 77 Sichot al Teva, 77 story talks about Teva. And when they talk about how can we help with the water problem in Israel, they say, if you're going to plant something in your garden or in your park, plant a native from the land of Israel. And we know that alonim stretch back to the Bible, and they don't require a lot of water. So if you're going to plant something, plant a native, plant an oak. Now, I picked these oak leaves outside just before I came in, and here's an oak saflul, a cap of an acorn. And I just want to tell you very quickly, why did I choose this? Because they're the Alona Tavor, the gall oak or the Tabor oak is shedding its leaves now. And just so you know, today the humble oak is making a comeback. Health conscious people are very excited to rediscover this new gluten-free superfood that has high nutritional value. With this, I'm going to finish, by the way. Acorns can be used nowadays to make flour and stews and spreads and tasty snacks. And they were always, throughout history, used for medicinal purposes. They're a very good source of tannin, so they're helpful for preventing blood clotting, and they're great for burns and rashes and infections and pain relief. I could go on and on and on, but let's just give thanks to the humble oak, an amazing tree. And I'm now going to stop the share. Here we go. Stop the share. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, you can unmute yourselves and ask me a question. Yeah, there we go. We've talked about water. We've talked about water, how important it is, how it was likened to the Torah, how you couldn't live in the land of Israel without water. I didn't say as opposed to, as it says later on in the book of Deuteronomy, as opposed to the land of Egypt. Why? Land of Egypt, they have the Nile River running through it. So they have a constant source of water. Well, pretty much constant. Anyone got any questions? Anything in the chat?
You said that the tannins, they help the blood clot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if you said helps or it's not good for clotting. No.
No. Good.
It's good for clotting.
Good. Helpful for preventing blood clotting.
No, but that means it doesn't. You mean it's not good for blood clotting. But
It stops blood clotting.
Yes.
Yeah.
It stops blood.
I've actually got another book here. I don't know if you can see. This is called Nissim Crispel's Yalkut Tzmachim. So I'm going to have a look over here and see what he says. But whilst other people are looking around for if they have any other questions. Anyone out there want to talk to me? Okay, here we go. All right, refuah. Here we are. It's שימש למניעת צירים. Wait, אני שימש גם למניעה. Let me look. Refuah. Okay. Hi, Sarit.
I would like to add something, but I don't know how to call the specific thing.
Good, I'll
Hebrew.
translate it. I'll translate it.
You know about the afatzim?
Yes,
How would
about
you
the
say
gall nuts.
afatzim? What?
Gall nuts, Gall.
Walnuts. I would like to add that the walnuts are used by the Sofer Stam. To write the Torah script. So that's another addition about the connection between water and the oak trees and the Torah.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you. Okay, so I found it over here that יהודי תימן השתמשו באפצים לעשיית תה נגד החוליים להלן. נפוחיות, bloating, ריפוי פצעים, sores, שטפי דם חיצוניים, which means bruising, would you say?
It means blood comes out, so the tannins make the blood stop. Isn't that it makes it? Then it does make the clot.
Okay. So you know what? Thank you, Leah. Thank you for correcting me. Good. Yeah, great. Good stuff. Okay, guys, I think we've finished our time, but thank you very much for joining me. Join tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Amazing lectures in English. 11 o'clock lectures in Hebrew. Oh, Paula, in the quote about Rabbi Akiva beginning to study at age 40, it says water drops day by day. But how can this be? Eretz Israel is specific rain, he says, and there is no rain day by day. But we captured water in the cisterns, and from the water in the cisterns, you could drip, and that would you have to have water even in the dry season, and we got it by harnessing the water in the cisterns. But
can I ask you a quick question?
Please.
I live in Kaiser, and I've tried to plant on my mirpeset sage and thyme and oregano.
Okay.
And I'm unsuccessful. Do you think I'm watering too much? You're talking about water.
Yeah.
Am I overwatering?
Don't water them too much, because sage, I didn't hear what else you said, oregano, they're native to the land of Israel. They don't require a lot of water. They grow. You live in Kaiser, okay?
Yes.
You only have to walk over into Anabe Park, and you will see wild sage bushes, wild ezov bushes, and they're only watered by the rains of heaven. So you go over to Givat Sher, same thing, so try a little less water, yeah.
So you mean once a week?
It also depends how much sun and shade and things you're getting.
I haven't got much sun because the person who lives beneath me has planted trees. And unfortunately, these trees are obscuring the sun, so I don't get enough sun. So you think less water might do the trick?
Try it, and they do need sun.
It's not in total shade, but it's not in full sun.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. I thought it would be so easy to plant. It's thyme, sage, and oregano. The thyme and the oregano.
What kind of thyme?
Not zatar type, more than that, the normal thyme that you
thyme like you buy in the supermarket.
Yes, that kind of thyme.
Okay. Okay, keep us posted.
Thank you for your lovely program. Thank you.
Thanks, Mira. Lovely. Okay, bye guys. Bye everybody.
Bye. Thank you.